Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are doing a deep psychological expose on a completely wild phenomenon. Why we constantly overbook our weekends and somehow mistake our own sheer, utter exhaustion for kindness. We are unpacking a concept today that challenges literally everything we think we know about being a quote-unquote good person. So if you're constantly wondering why your calendar is packed to the brim but your soul feels totally empty, grab a seat. We are about to completely dismantle what we call the nice trap. We need to start by directly confronting a massive lie we tell ourselves every single day. We tell ourselves that we are just too nice for our own good. Look, we've all been there, right? You agree to bake 3 dozen cupcakes for a school event, or you take on some massive weekend project for a friend, and all the while your internal monologue is just screaming, "No, please, no." We usually assume we just lack confidence, or maybe we have a communication issue. But the source material reveals a much sharper, honestly kind of shocking truth. Smart people purposefully ruin their own schedules because they are completely misdiagnosing the actual problem. We genuinely think saying yes is a moral virtue, but it turns out it's often just our nervous system desperately seeking safety. It's fascinating. When we feel that intense, suffocating pressure to agree to a favor, what's actually happening is our brain is calculating that displeasing someone is a literal threat. So what do? We trade our honesty for safety. We aren't actually being nice in that moment. We are just trying to survive a perceived social danger. And this brings us to the ultimate paradigm shift. You aren't a people pleaser. You are experiencing the fawn reflex. This is a hardwired survival mechanism. Coined by therapist Pete Walker, fawning is actually the fourth, lesser-known trauma survival response. You know fight, flight, and freeze, right? Well, this is fawn. It is the absolute misguided genius of your nervous system, orchestrating peace where none existed, by simply appeasing a perceived threat through over-accommodation. Basically, your primitive brain thinks saying no to a dinner party is neurologically equivalent to getting chased by a bear. Understanding this brilliantly illustrates the massive difference between what we think we are doing and what we are actually doing. True kindness. That is freely chosen. It comes from a place of surplus energy. And the biggest tell, it leaves absolutely zero resentment behind. Fawning, on the other hand, is an automatic, fear-based transaction. It's designed solely to avoid conflict or rejection, not to be a genuine act of generosity. Listen, if you are doing something for someone but secretly simmering with underground resentment, you aren't being kind. You are fawning. Period. And that dynamic builds into what's known as the automatic yes loop. This is a toxic, exhausting cycle. It starts with a simple request. Instantly, your brain spikes with fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being seen as selfish. And before your rational, logical brain can even boot up, you spit out an automatic yes. Now that yes does provide a split second of relief because, hey, you avoided the immediate threat. But then, almost instantly, the heavy, crushing resentment sets in. The hardest truth to swallow here is that every single time you say yes when you actually mean no, you subconsciously teach yourself that your own needs simply do not matter. The biggest cost of this behavior isn't a ruined Sunday afternoon or a frantically busy schedule. It is the complete and utter erosion of your self-trust. You systematically learn to silence your own internal compass, and eventually you stop even knowing what it is you actually want out of life. So, the million-dollar question, how do we fix this? How do we get off this hamster wheel? The good news is you absolutely do not need a personality transplant to fix your schedule. You don't need to suddenly transform into a completely different, aggressive, boundary-enforcing machine. You just need to safely interrupt your nervous system's automatic reaction. We just need to find a way to wedge a tiny little gap between the request and your response. Enter our escape route. This is a groundbreaking framework called the pause method. It's a highly practical 5-step system designed for the exact millisecond a request lands in your lap. Pause, assess, understand, speak, and exit the guilt. Now, we are going to spend a good chunk of time right here, because this is where the absolute magic happens. This framework isn't about perfectly setting boundaries out of nowhere. It is entirely about experiencing the intense, euphoric emotional relief of claiming just a tiny sliver of time for yourself, right when your brain is screaming at you to comply. I really want you to focus on the profound emotional relief of step 1. The very second, and I mean the exact second, you realize you do not have to answer a request immediately, your chest literally begins to untighten. The entire premise here is so unbelievably simple, yet completely radical for a fawner. You are allowed to buy time. You do not owe anyone an immediate answer to anything, ever. I want you to literally imagine that massive, heavy boulder of social obligation simply dropping from your shoulders. The relief is completely visceral. It's the immediate physical de-escalation of your nervous system instantly stepping out of panic mode. And you achieve that relief by simply deploying one-time buying phrase, something like, "Let me check my schedule and come back to you." By just saying those few words, you experience the profound cleansing peace of stepping completely out of the high-pressure fear loop. Think about it. You haven't said no, so the fear of conflict doesn't trigger, and you haven't said yes, so the resentment doesn't trigger either. You've simply created a gap, and that gap is exactly where your freedom lives. Seriously, think about how intensely liberating it feels to just say, "I need a minute." That simple, structured pause is absolute magic for a burnt-out schedule. Imagine that visceral relief washing over you as you move into step 2, which is to assess. This is where you check your body before you answer with your head. Once you've bought that time, you just notice, is your chest tight? Is your stomach in knots? Is your throat closing up? That's your body signaling a fear response. But because you paused, your breathing naturally slows down. The mental fog of pure panic is replaced by sharp, calm clarity. Just feeling that physical tension melts away because you bought yourself an hour or even 10 minutes is a massive victory in itself. This gorgeous, quiet pause creates the space you need for step 3, understand. It allows you to untangle your feelings and finally understand if you are acting out of fear or out of true willingness. A fear yes always comes with a tight chest. It's frantic, it's fast, and it's driven entirely by the panic of avoiding rejection. But a true yes, that features a completely calm body, a slow breath, a genuine, freely chosen desire to help. The sheer relief of finally having the quiet space to actually know the difference between the two, it's genuinely life-changing. And finally, we hit steps 4 and 5. Speak and exit the guilt. When you finally speak your truth, whether it's a calm yes or a polite no, the unearned guilt will probably show up. That's a given for any recovering fawner. But here is the secret. Because you paused, assessed, and understood your body, you know that guilt is just a phantom reflex. It's an echo of an old habit. You can literally just watch it float by without obeying it. You can bask in the intense, incredible peace of reclaiming your own life. You are no longer held hostage by the fear of someone else's mild disappointment. Now, to experience this amazing relief permanently, you first need to identify exactly how you individually fall into this trap. Our sources point out that fawning doesn't look the same for everyone. There are 4 primary profiles. Are you the approval seeker who just completely dreads any form of disappointment? The peacekeeper who actively avoids conflict at literally all costs? The caretaker who constantly anticipates everyone else's needs just to feel safe in a room? Or maybe the chameleon who subtly shifts their entire personality and identity just to blend in? To figure this out, you can actually download a free, highly practical blueprint right now to instantly diagnose exactly why you specifically keep saying yes and ruining your schedule. It's called the Fawn Fingerprint Workbook, and it is linked directly in the notes for this explainer. I highly, highly encourage you to pause this right now and go grab it. Take the assessment, identify your specific fawning style, and understand exactly what triggers your automatic yes. It's an incredibly powerful, immediate first step toward getting your time back. And look, once you've felt that initial rush of relief from just understanding your style and using the pause, the free workbook teases the deeper magic found inside the master 30-day system, which is called the I Can't Say No system. It's designed to rewire this automatic habit for good. Now, I won't give away the entire playbook of the master system here, but I will tell you it is meticulously designed to build on the pause method. It takes you through a beautifully structured challenge that slowly, safely teaches your nervous system that you are actually allowed to have boundaries. It takes that temporary rush of relief and turns it into permanent, unshakable freedom. So as we wrap up, I want you to remember this incredibly provocative truth from the source material. You are not a function. You are a person. You are not just a convenient tool meant to keep everyone else comfortable. And you don't have to become a completely different, cold person to protect your time. You just have to stop abandoning yourself. So go grab that free Fawn Fingerprint Workbook via the link in the notes, try out the incredible power of the pause today, and ask yourself this: what truly amazing, incredible things could you accomplish with your life if you finally put yourself back on your own schedule?